Here we go.
There we go.
Okay, so hi everybody, welcome. My name is Sam, and today we're going to be talking about how digital tools can be leveraged to help support your practice and lower some of that administrative burden associated with this time of year. So obviously with flu season and the associated flu shot season. So let's dive in. There we go. So just some very quick housekeeping notes. You guys, the attendees will be muted throughout the presentation, but you can absolutely ask questions either in the chat or there's a little Q&A panel as well. So as questions come up, feel free to throw them in the chat. We will have a time at the end to dig into those questions and any others that pop up. So we'll review the questions that have come in through the chat throughout the session, as well as if other questions come to mind at the end, we can always unmute you as well and you can ask questions. And just to note, this presentation is being recorded, that message that you just heard, and will be circulated after for anyone that might have missed it and or if you want to go back and review or anything like that. So let's dig in. So very quick introduction. As I said, my name is Sam Plested. I'm the Senior Manager of Business Development at Cognizant MD, so the Ocean platform. I always like to say I am a physiotherapist by background. I'm a clinician by background, super out of date physio, so definitely don't ask me any physio questions. But I think it's really helpful. Certainly I have that clinician perspective in the back of my mind at all times. And I have so much empathy, sympathy for the work that you guys do and balancing the challenges of providing amazing patient care and dealing with or kind of managing all of the administrative challenges that go along with that. So it's an honor to be able to hopefully help in like one small way to help make it easier for you guys to provide the amazing care that you are this season and throughout the year. And just a note as well, I have my colleague Remy here with me. She'll be keeping an eye on the chat as the conversation goes on. And if there's any kind of more straightforward questions, maybe just throwing answers in there and then helping me as we answer the questions at the end of the presentation. And she'll also be the one that you guys can follow up with any questions and or next steps following the presentation. So she'll be obviously reaching out with her contact information afterwards as well. Thanks for being here, Remy. Okay, so in terms of what we're going to talk about today in a little bit more detail, I thought I'd very quickly start with kind of a level set of the challenges of flu season and where we see opportunities to contribute to that to some of those challenges with digital health solutions. And then I'm going to chat a little bit about the Ocean platform. So walk you through the platform more broadly and dive into some concrete examples that have been are implemented currently with clinics, specifically around flu shot clinics. And then, as I mentioned at the end, there'll be some time to dig into questions or anything you'd like me to chat a little bit more about. So we're hearing constantly about this like unmatched burden that's being placed on the healthcare system more broadly at this time, and particularly in primary care. And with this now, like I think they're calling it triple-demic or whatever the word is of flu season, COVID, and RSV in pediatric populations, there's never been more pressure on the healthcare system. And so being able to manage that work that you guys, that amazing work that you're doing and the increased volume of patients has never been harder. And mixed up in that with flu season comes flu shot season. So having to rapidly stand up these flu shot clinics to get as many of your patients in so they can get their flu shots and hopefully stay healthy throughout the year is just this added layer of complexity right now. So we wanted to think about, again, using flu shot clinics as a nice example, ways that digital tools can hopefully help take away some of that administrative work from you guys so it gives you as much bandwidth as possible to support your patients in a meaningful way. And so just to say, as we kind of walk through these examples, again, flu shot clinics is a nice relevant example that we're highlighting at this time, but obviously there's a ton of relevancy of these tools throughout your entire practice. So either kind of in the Q&A or afterwards, happy to chat more broadly about these tools as well. So using flu shot clinics as a nice example of where digital health tools can support, we kind of divided it out into 3 phases of the work associated with a flu shot clinic. So that first phase obviously is getting your patients booked in for appointments. So letting them know that they should be booking in and actually scheduling those appointments. And so what I'm going to do today is walk through how online booking can support that work and take away that influx of calls that otherwise would come to the clinic, as well as ways to kind of get that information out to patients that they need to be booking in. The second phase is the appointment itself, I suppose you could say. So I'm going to be chatting a little bit about how appointment reminders and forms can be layered into the visit itself to improve the percentage of attended appointments and to maximize patients' time in the clinic and take care of some of, again, the paperwork and things that are sometimes associated with these appointments in the back end in an automated way. And then the third phase that we're going to touch on is basically like tracking and measurement, follow-up, anything that happens kind of after the flu shot. So this can be used in a couple of different ways. Ocean can be used in a couple of different ways to support this. One around tracking vaccination status of patients that might have gotten their vaccine somewhere else, which is super valuable for your guys' reporting. And then also any post-appointment follow-up or tracking that you guys do internally for your practice and how that might be able to be automated, supported by digital health tools. Okay, so let's dig in. So I thought I'd first give like a high level overview of the Ocean platform broadly, and then we'll dig into some of those specific examples. So Ocean is an EMR integrated platform. So it integrates fully with Oscar Pro, relevant for our conversation today. And we have a really wonderful partnership with Oscar Pro. All of these tools that I'm going to be talking about, really Ocean is designed to feel like it's an extension of your EMR. So your EMR instance remains the one point of truth, and Ocean is essentially reading what's happening in the EMR and able to kind of pull information automatically from the EMR as appropriate and push it back in automatically as appropriate. So really, again, an extension of your EMR and hopefully giving you some added functionality with minimal extra work on your part. So our tools fall into two major buckets. The first are our patient engagement tools, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail and really is the focus of our conversation today. The other bucket of our tools that I'll just briefly touch on is our provider network. And so the key tool there is the Ocean e-referral network. I always like to just kind of make note of the Ocean e-referral network. In Ontario, for our participants that are in Ontario, the Ocean e-referral network is the government selected, supported, funded e-referral solution. So there's actually a dedicated team through e-services working across the province right now, onboarding clinics onto the network. And it's, again, fully funded by the government. The good thing about Ocean is if you have one of these tools installed, you've really done a huge kind of chunk of the setup work if you're choosing to add some other tools. So I always just like to note, like if you're already down the path of e-referral, it's nice because you've already done a bunch of the work for setup. So adding these other patient engagement tools are really easy, which is a nice thing. And then underlying both our patient engagement tools and our provider network is something we call our health information exchange. And relevant for you guys, it's really our intense focus on creating kind of these seamless integrations with EMRs to really make it feel like Ocean is an extension of your EMR and not this other thing that you're managing, again, to make your jobs as easy as possible. So talking more specifically about Ocean's patient engagement tools, which is, again, what we'll be spending the bulk of today talking about, we have a couple of different products, and these are all products that better connect providers to your patients and help that communication between providers and patients. The first tool that we're going to be talking about today is our patient messaging and reminders tool. And so this tool gives you the ability to do kind of three different things. So at a high level, it gives you the ability to send a message to a patient, an email or email plus text in some circumstances. And included in that message might be any information you'd like to provide to patients, any documents you might like to provide, like a lab requisition or something like that, and any e-forms you'd like them to fill out. So what that means is a form that's sent electronically to a patient for them to fill out electronically, and then for that information to automatically get uploaded back into the EMR. So you can send a message as like a one-time, one-off customized message to a patient. You can also automate that message as part of an appointment reminder. So along with kind of the usual details of that would go out as part of an appointment reminder, you can incorporate an email template, and you might have different templates for different appointment types with specific information, specific e-forms relevant to certain appointment types, like a flu shot clinic, or any kind of more specific details you'd like to provide. And again, have them be able to complete any forms and have that information uploaded back into the chart before the visit. And then the third area in kind of this group of tools is cohort messaging. So the ability to send a message to a group of up to 100 patients at the same time to share kind of a standard set of information with a group of patients. For example, a flu shot clinic, which again, I'll walk you through a little bit later. The next tool that we have is online appointment booking. So again, the ability to have patients book online versus kind of the usual methods of either calling in or manually doing it at the clinic. We also have tablets and kiosks, which again give patients the ability to fill out these forms and have that information automatically get uploaded into the chart, and then support check-in in the case of kiosks. Then we have a product called a website form, which essentially allows for patients to initiate communication to the clinic for clinics that want that. Some clinics don't want that workflow, so we have the ability for you to choose. And then the final thing that I'll highlight is we have a studies module. So again, the ability to send out forms to patients and have that information come back and actually get pulled out for usable kind of research purposes. So pseudo-analyzed and summarized for research purposes. So really popular for things like patient satisfaction surveys, things like that. To leverage kind of both the collection of information that you might want for the clinic, and then again, any research you're doing. And I'll just kind of reiterate or highlight, I think a lot of people know Ocean as an e-form engine, which is absolutely our roots where we started. Again, that ability to have patients fill out a form electronically and have that information seamlessly flow back into the chart. And I always like to highlight, you might have noticed by everything I just said, that functionality, that e-form functionality is really foundational to all of our different products. And I think it's one of the things that makes Ocean products a little bit special or different than some of the other solutions in this space is incorporating that e-form collection of information in a kind of more controlled, usable way with these other products like online booking, appointment reminders, things like that. So again, as I walk through some concrete examples for you, you'll see that kind of in action as we're discussing. Okay, so let's dig into some flu shot clinic examples. So the first thing we're going to start with is, again, that first phase of getting patients booked in for their flu shot clinic. And so the tool that I'm going to speak about first is our online appointment booking tool. So obviously, the huge value there is especially with something like a flu shot clinic where there's this surge of booking that has to happen in a really short period of time. It basically allows you to completely redirect the phone volume that would be happening to get patients booked in really rapidly in, again, this short period of time. And you have the ability to completely kind of customize and control what the options are for booking from the flu shot clinic perspective. So you define exactly when you want to have it and the length of time and all of those details. That can be completely kind of set up in the back end, and then you can allow patients to do the bulk of the work of booking in for you. One of the other cool things about Ocean's solution, as I mentioned, you can incorporate forms into that online appointment booking workflow. So it really provides you you get more bang for your buck from any engagement you have with a patient, and you can incorporate collection of demographics, a flu shot screener, an infographic, anything like that into that online appointment booking workflow to make sure all of that information has been provided to them. So I thought we'd start by giving you a visual of what it actually looks like. So I'm going to take you through an online appointment booking workflow specifically for a flu shot clinic that we've designed. So a couple things I always like to note here on the login page is this is a little bit different than some of the other solutions in the space. So this is just a URL, mobile and web friendly. So a client could do it from their computer or their phone or whatever it might be. All of this information on this page can be customized. So you can create a customized message for the clinic to make patients feel like they're booking in with the clinic itself and not a booking service. But the big thing I always like to highlight here that's different is there's no account creation step with Ocean. So where some of the solutions would require you to create an account first and then book in for an appointment, Ocean instead asks for your name, your health card number, and your birth date. And that validates basically whether or not a patient is already in your EMR and presents the patient with some customized options based on that validation. Why that's really important or valuable, I mean, we hear across the board that patients often have challenges with like managing logins for various things, particularly when you get into delegate management. So like myself and my 2 kids remembering all of our different logins for various things. So it dramatically lowers the barrier to access for booking an appointment, for example, and it takes away work from you guys, because what we also hear is when a client can't remember their name, they call the clinic asking for resets and things like this. So particularly with something like a flu shot, this kind of taking away that step is so valuable from a workflow perspective for you guys. The other thing that's cool here is you get to decide whether or not you want to open booking up to only your patients that have already been rostered or patients that may have never been to your clinic before. That's completely a decision that you guys get to make. And you have the ability to customize what types of appointments those two, or what provider, what schedules are available to those 2 different kind of groups of patients. So really can mimic the kind of thinking and the logic that your admin teams would do normally and just build it into the solution for you. So with all that said, let's log in. I'm going to log in as Martha Gibbs, and it's going to present Martha with some options for booking based on the information, the rules that have been set up in the background. And also just to note, all of this is happening in live time. So it's reading, again, the EMR as the one point of truth and presenting options in live time. So, and that comes up as important in a couple of different ways. So based on that information, Ocean has now presented me with some schedules, some options in terms of schedules that I'm allowed to book into. As I said, you guys can set rules in the background about which patients see which schedules. There might be some that you only want certain patients to see certain primary provider schedules, for example. And then something like a flu shot would likely be one that you would make available or visible to everyone to see to book into, but you get to, again, customize those rules. So we're obviously going to go ahead and book in with the flu shot clinic. And then again, it's going to present some information now for us to review based on that. So this is an example, as I mentioned, of the ability to incorporate forms or infographics or things like that into the booking workflow. We've incorporated first an infographic and then some safety questions, some screening questions that you can embed into the booking workflow to basically confirm that a patient is appropriate for booking. And you can, again, completely automate this with Ocean. So I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions. And then again, can rule out some groups that are not appropriate for booking. And another super valuable way that Ocean can be used for flu shots is in collecting consent. So it provides the ability to add a consent form into the booking process and have that information then be automatically uploaded and available for you within the chart. So once that's complete, it's going to present me with some options to book in. And I'll just reiterate here, again, this list of options is being pulled from the EMR in live time. And so that is really important for a couple different reasons. One, it minimizes administrative work. So in some cases, some of these solutions require you like manage a schedule in a portal, and then separately you're managing your schedule in the EMR, and it minimizes error. So again, any risk of double booking or getting out of sync. So a couple of kind of concrete examples of that. If a provider for whatever reason decides, oh my gosh, I'm blocking off next Wednesday, they would just have to block off next Wednesday in the schedule itself. And then that would automatically be in live time reflected in what's available online. Or to use another example that's probably very relevant for flu shot season, if a client is booking in clinic, so they're kind of the usual means, and I'm sitting on this page also trying to grab an appointment, if that patient in clinic takes the time that I was about to click, if I try to click it again automatically, it would give a message that says this appointment is no longer available. So that all happens in live time. So there's no threat or risk of double booking as people flood the system to quickly book in for flu shot clinics. You guys also get to completely control kind of the window of booking. So how far out patients are able to book in and how close to an appointment patients are able to book in. So as you see in some cases that as like new clinic days open up, you could just on the fly kind of keep adding those from an online booking perspective as well. And so completely customizable for that type of adjustment on the fly, which is helpful for flu shot season. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and book an appointment, and this email is pulled automatically from the email that's on file, but can be adjusted. And then it gives me a confirmation of what I have booked. You do have the ability to cancel or reschedule from the email that the patient will receive confirming their appointment. You guys get to set rules about how close to an appointment that a patient could cancel. And or reschedule, but they have the ability to do that themselves. So they don't have to call into the clinic to do that. And then so I'm just going to show you what that appointment will look like in the EMR instance once it's booked in. So we're just clicking into that appointment here. And you can see all the details, and it is noted that it was booked online. So you have that information available to you. And then we'll show you also where that information that was collected goes. So we can review in the chart an example of basically where that information is collected. So we're just going to enter into the chart here. Ocean has the ability to customize either for it to go into the chart note itself or into a document, depending on where you would like it to go in Oscar Pro, but you have both of those options available to you. And so there's the summary of the details that would have been collected with booking. So you have that information available to you when they come in for their appointment. Okay. So I thought I'd now chat. So online booking, obviously, one of the key parts of that is getting that information to patients to make it known that they should be booking online. So there's a whole bunch of different strategies that you can use to basically get that information out to patients in a timely way. As I said, that booking link is a URL. It's just a link. So some popular use cases are obviously if you have a clinic website, you can have a kind of book now button on your clinic website and specifically targeted messaging around book now for flu shot season. My provider also uses Ocean, so all of my examples are often my own as a patient, but that's an example of like my provider will have a big kind of flu shot season book now button on their website to draw attention to it. You can also incorporate it into your appointment reminders, so which I'll talk about next, but just a standard message that is encouraging patients to book in with that link to book online and any outbound messages that you guys send out. We also have clinics updating their voicemail with instructions and encouraging patients to book in as flu shot season approaches. You can put it on promotional material like posters, handouts, things like that. A lot of clinics now you can basically make a QR code so patients can scan it if they're in the clinic and again, book in manually in that way as well. And then the kind of cool thing that you have the option to do is send messages to patients with that booking link automatically embedded in it. You can there's tools that you can use to do broadcast messaging. So sending the same message to basically everyone in your roster with, again, information about a flu shot clinic and that link to book online. With Ocean, one of the things that you can do, so we see a lot of clinics that use Ocean online booking and then send the message out using various broadcast messaging tools. With Ocean, you also have the ability though to send, again, that cohort message. So the ability to message specific groups of patients that you're particularly wanting to encourage to book online. So the obvious example there is all of your patients that are over 65. So Ocean gives you the ability, you could work with Oscar Pro to pull a report of essentially all of your patients over 65 in your EMR and send a targeted message to that group of patients, again, encouraging them to book online and with that online appointment booking link embedded in it. And a nice recent example from one of our clinics, one of the clinics that we're already working with that's using online booking, they indicated that their call volume is about 700 calls a day. And they, on a Friday, stood up this online appointment booking link and sent a message out to all of their patients to book online. And they indicated that by Monday, they had 1,000 appointments booked, online appointment booked online for their flu shot clinic. So the time saving of not taking those 1,000 calls was just like monumental to them in terms of their workflows. And they were able to kind of rapidly stand up this flu shot clinic and get everyone in, which is super, super meaningful from a time perspective for these clinics, which is nice to hear. So the next phase, so now everybody's booked, everybody knows that they should be booking in and has their appointments, is the actual attending of the appointment itself. So making that time that patients are in the clinic as kind of meaningful and targeted as possible, and making sure all of these patients that have booked appointments actually come for their appointments and kind of have everything they need and are set up for success there. So one of the tools, the tool that I'll highlight to help with kind of that phase of things is our automated appointment reminders and kind of two pieces of things. So as I mentioned, in the online appointment booking link, patients will have the ability to cancel and or reschedule appointments on the fly. So again, take that work away from your administrative teams and have them be able to do that themselves and to maximize the availability of appointments there. And then you can also incorporate pre-appointment appointment reminders as a kind of secondary layer to these appointments that have been booked online, and to any, just to say out loud, to any of your appointments, regardless of whether they were booked online or in person. And one of the cool things that you can do with Ocean appointment reminders is, again, customize the information that's there. So you might create an appointment reminder rule just for your flu shot clinic with specific instructions associated with the flu shot clinic and specific forms that are relevant to the flu shot clinic. So you can create this really customized experience specifically for your flu shot clinics and collect all of the information that you need before the visit. So your admin teams and or patients aren't having to spend time once they're there, basically collecting that information or supporting any forms, anything like that. So I'll walk you through an example of what that looks like. So we're going to start from how you build out a rule. So this would be in the back end. Essentially, you can set up a rule. And then once it's set, you basically can forget about it. So it's just automatically then looking in your EMR and sending out these appointment reminder rules in the background by itself without you guys having to do anything. So we're going to build out a flu shot clinic rule. So we're going to go ahead and start building it out. And so again, you'll see completely customizable in terms of how you would normally reach out to patients. So you can decide when you want it to go out before a visit. You can actually automate follow-up as well. So you could send it out after a visit. You get to decide if you want an email reminder to go out only or an email plus a text message. And you get to decide if you want to make patients have to confirm. They can either just get the reminder or they can actually have to confirm the appointment. And then importantly, you get to incorporate any information you would like to provide. So details about the visit itself and any e-forms that you'd like to include in the workflow in terms of having patients actually completing any forms or anything like that. And then you define basically who you want to get these appointment reminders. So you might have one appointment reminder for everybody, or relevant to our example today, you might have a customized appointment reminder only for the flu shot clinics. And then this is just a confirmation of what that would look like. And so once you set this rule, basically once you confirm it, it would just automatically go out in the background. So I'm going to show you what it would look like on the patient side of things once they get these confirmations. So again, you can decide if it's email only or email plus text. This is an email example of the appointment reminder. Just like our online booking solution, you'll notice there's no account creation step in terms of accessing the message that has been received. It'll be addressed to whichever patient it is relevant for. So I get that question sometimes if, say, again, to use my own example, a mom and her 2 kids have the same email address on file, that's not a problem. It would just go to the same email. You might get 3 confirmations or 3 appointment reminders addressed to the appropriate patients for each. So that's not a problem at all. And then in terms of login, you guys get to decide. It's the kind of minimum layer is birth date. So validating the birth date of the message that of the patient that the message is intended for, or you could do birth date plus health card number. You can also, you have the ability to do like a customized password if you would like as well, but most clinics do just birth date or birth date plus health card is kind of the most common workflow there. So I'm going to log in here to access my message. So the first is confirming. So I've now confirmed my appointment. And then it's also going to take me through a COVID screen. And so I'm going to answer no, obviously, to all these questions. And I've completed my confirmation. And then in Oscar Pro, once a patient is confirmed, if you've chosen to enable the confirmation step, it's automatically reflected in the schedule. So you could do kind of a quick scan of basically everyone who's confirmed, and even potentially only target your reach outs to those that have not confirmed their appointments yet. So dramatic time savings there in terms of making sure everybody is coming for their appointment. And then I'll also show you that COVID screen. So the information that we collected. Now, this is an example, it's in the document. So we have a summary of those details of the COVID screen as well. So you're not having to do that step necessarily when they come in. Okay. So the third and final stage that I'll touch on today, and then we'll open it up to questions, is around tracking of information. So this can mean a couple of different things. One thing that it can mean is basically tracking vaccine status of patients that might have accessed vaccines somewhere else for your own reporting. So another really nice use of, again, that cohort messaging functionality, talking again about potentially having Oscar Pro work with you to pull a report of patients over 65, would give you the ability to essentially pull that list, send a message to those patients with an e-form, basically validating whether or not they've gotten their flu shot somewhere else. So you have that information available to you for reporting purposes around flu shot. And so that can be completely kind of built out through Ocean using the messaging functionality. And we have already some really nice templates of clinics already doing this workflow. The other thing that you can do that may be relevant for flu shot clinics is automating any post-vaccine follow-up. So that appointment reminder workflow that I just demonstrated for you, we did obviously before the appointment, but you have the ability as well to automate like a follow-up from the appointment with any kind of rules or criteria that you would want patients to know about post-vaccine kind of follow-up and or any reasons to be concerned, where to go if you have questions, that kind of thing. That can be set up as a rule as well. And that could all just be happening in the background. So you guys aren't having to do the work to share that information or to kind of follow up with patients in any way. Okay, so the last thing that I'll highlight, and then we'll open it up to any questions that patients or that you guys have about any of these tools or really anything else to do with Ocean, is around our pricing. And the only thing that I like to highlight here, really particularly relevant to flu shot clinics, is one of the nice things about Ocean is it's completely pay as you go. So you can set up Ocean tools and it's very a la carte. So you could pick one provider, one schedule, one tool, and kind of add or adjust or layer on things completely on the fly. And you're only billed for whatever you've chosen to enable at that time. So there's no like setup fees or cancellation fees or anything like that. And you can enable and disable things kind of exactly as they're being used. So we actually see that a fair bit. Again, flu shot clinics are probably one of the best examples where we see that, where a clinic may or may not already be using Ocean for other things, and then kind of enable a flu shot clinic schedule for the 6 weeks that it's running for and turn it right back off again when they're done the flu shot clinic season part of things. And that's great. That's not a problem at all. So it's a really nice way to, again, stand this up for this initiative that happens really quickly, and then be kind of mindful of your clinic costs when it's less relevant ongoing. So complete control there about kind of turning on and off these tools as you need. Okay, so I have emails up there. Not sure exactly the mix of clients on here. For any new clients that aren't using Ocean at all, I have Remy's email for you guys there. If you are currently using Ocean already and just are wanting to add a tool or answer a question about setup or things like that, you can reach out to that sales@cognizantmd email as well. And really, if you reach out to one, and Remy and I work quite closely together, so we'll make sure you get connected to the right person for follow-up. Okay, so I'll stop there. Any questions or anything like that from anything that I've discussed so far? And Remy, I'm not sure, when I'm in presentation mode, I'm not 100% sure about it. Is there, am I missing any? I'm not seeing any messages in the chat. I'm right, correct?
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing any either.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Well, hearing none, if there's no further questions, we can give you a couple minutes back in your day. But thank you so much for having us and for connecting. And again, as questions come up in future, happy to support in any way we can.
Great. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Can you talk a little bit more about canceling or rescheduling option that the patients have? Yeah, great question. So in that online appointment booking link, so basically, like if you book an appointment online, you'll get an email confirming the details of your appointment. And from that email, there'll be a link there to cancel or reschedule your appointment as you'd like. The clinic, you as the clinic, gets to define any criteria around that. So for example, some clinics might say less than 24 hours before an appointment, you can't cancel online, you have to call in or whatever it might be. But you get to decide all of that. And then otherwise, essentially, patients would have the ability to reschedule or cancel their appointments. Then once they cancel, that availability then would get opened up for other patients to book in. Tiffany, did I hit on, oh, there's another one. Oh, yeah. How and where can I make these restrictions in the back end? Great question. So Tiffany, that's a great, we can reach out to you directly. We have some nice kind of support guides that walk you through, and our practice consultant team can walk through basically how to set up those restrictions in the back end. So why don't I'll make a note here for us to follow up with you guys directly with those specific instructions of how to make those restrictions for sure. Okay, any other questions from anybody? Perfect. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody, for your time, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.